Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. My name's Tracy and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do the border and straps of my granny tote bag. And I'm going to try and show you the finished one. I might have to lift up a little way. This is the finished one. It's got the border around this area here. And, oh, sorry about that. And here are the straps. I incorporated them into the border so they are part of it. Now I might show you how I'm going to do my edging. Now some time ago I bought these from Hobbycraft and they are just these little kind of, well, I don't even know what that material is, like linen bags. They're kind of shopping bags and usually you find them with companies' logos and stuff printed on them. But I bought these plain ones. And I bought them with the intention of using them as bag liners because half the work is already done for me. And if I can, if I can cut down on the amount of unnecessary sewing, then I will. Now this is what they look like. And as you can see, it is too wide. So what I would have to do in this circumstance is cut this corner, make it narrower, so I would have to sew that one side and cut that corner so that it would be shaped like this at the bottom. This one here is looking quite rounded, but it is in actual fact kind of got sides, if you like, because it's the sides of the granny. So as you can see, if I lay it down, then you can see it is a bit on the wide side. If I place this over the top, then it's not a massive amount. If I can just lift, I'll put this in position first, and then you can see it's not too bad at all. It's not a great deal, but it is slightly wider, and I'd need to lose these corners. I could just get away with taking it in a little bit rather than cutting it because it isn't too big. But when it comes to this end, it's caught on my stand, bear with me a second, I'd have to cut it, sort of shape it, lose these straps. Now if you were adventurous, you could actually use these straps and just cover them in your edging, and that would make it really a lot less stretchy. But I'm just going to make them the same way as I did before. It's cotton yarn, so it doesn't have that much stretch to it in any case. But that's how I'm going to make my liner. And I will just sew it to the inside of my bag. Just sew it on. I'll have to do that by hand because I don't have a sewing machine anymore. So that will be a bit of a mission. But that's how I'm going to do my liner. So just going to pause the video a second while I clear all this away. Okay, so that's now out the way. So what I would say is, as you know, I've just shown you those and they are plain, but you can use ones that you've got in your cupboard that are already kind of got advertising on them. Like this one I got for free. And it's just got Purina and various pet food kind of brands on them. But you can use that if you want as the bag liner, and just ignore that. You can either have that on the sort of like the outside of the inside, if you like, so it's between your crochet and your liner, or you can just hide it on the inside. Or as I have, just buy the plain ones. They were just, I think, about 50p to £1 each. So they weren't really very expensive at all. So if I show you the completed one, how I've done this is this is the front of the bag. And I started here. And I just worked my way all the way around until I got to this peak. And then I did my strap all the way, like chained to the other side, and then I went all the way around this side and all the way around this side and did my chain until I met back up with this side and I joined it. And then I worked around this side and then I worked around the inside. And so it does it's really difficult not to have it twist, but the way I looked at it, it was just chain, so it wasn't going to be a massive problem if it did twist. But I tried my best to keep it straight, which I will do this time, but as I'm on camera, you know what happens. So for this, I'm going to use a 4.5mm crochet hook, and I've got my scissors handy. You will need a darning needle, but you don't have to sort of see that. They're all pretty much standard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So there we are. There's the front of the bag. Doesn't matter if it's the front or the back, to be honest with you, but it's that part of the bag. So I'm going to join my yarn to there's the corner, and I'm going to join it to the side of the corner. So I'm going to go into this stitch here. There's the middle of the corner. So there's my 3 stitches in the corner, and this one is the end. So I'm going to go into there and just join my yarn, and you can do that however you want. And as I now have plenty of this yarn, thanks to a lovely subscriber who sent me some, I can just afford to make a nice long tail. So I'm going to now drop my tail, and I'm going to do, just bear with me a second. Sorry about that. I just saw someone coming up my path and I knew I was going to get a door knock. So I'm going to do a row all the way round of half treble crochet. Now that's a UK term. It's half double in the US. And so I'm going to make this a little bit further down, and I'm going to try and keep zoomed. So my first stitch, I've already got 2 on my hook from my join. So I usually, in that case, I'm going to work over the tail as well. So what I did is I went over my tail, like my first join with my tail and my working yarn. So my first stitch, I'm just going to insert, pull up a loop. I've got 3 on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So now I'm going to just do 1 half treble in each stitch all the way around, and a half treble is nice and simple in each one. So I've got my 3 on my hook, and I'm going through all 3. So that's a half treble in the UK or a half double in the US. So I'm going to do that all the way around until I get to my dip. Now if you wanted to do yours as a UK double crochet, which in the US is a single crochet, then you can. But I like the idea of it being just a little bit wider on the border there. It looked kind of a little bit narrow. Sorry if it's zoomed in, it's sort of a bit crazy when I'm moving about, but it made this look a little bit narrow. So I did half trebles. We're talking about this row here, and then my finishing one was a single, like a double crochet UK, single crochet US. But we're doing this middle one at the moment, and I wanted to make it so that it was wider, and just doing 3 very small rows of double crochet UK or single crochet US made it kind of narrow, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to be a little bit more robust. So just keep going until you get to the end of your first square and you reach your V. I'm almost over my tail there. Just going to, I'll leave it. It will pop out, but I'll sew it back in. So I'm almost at my very first V, and it's got a little gap. So what I'm going to do is, when you make a chevron blanket, you crochet together. So I'm going to do that on here. So I've made my 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to go into this one and do it together, and I'm going to do that again. Just pulling them together. I'm going to do it one more time, and that has now joined those stitches together. I've got a bit of a bobble there. I don't quite know how that happened. I think it's the yarn, but I will sew that in. So now I'm just going to carry on as normal, going around each one, and then when I get to my next dip, I'll do the same. I'll just do my treble, half treble, 2 together, half double, 2 together, 3 times around that V, and it just pulls it into shape. It will get a little bit better on the next round. Okay. I think on my previous one I only did 2, but that one was a little bit wider, so that's why I've done 3. It just depends how well you've joined. Right now I'm at the top here. I'll go into that one and then into this one, and now I'm at the very top of my peak. So I've gone all the way around from this side to this side, and this is now, if you like, our back or front, it doesn't make any difference. So now I'm going to chain 90. So I'm going to just carry on and chain 90, but I'm going to pause the video so that I can count, and I'm going to leave you to do the same, and I'll come back to you when I've got 90. Right, so I have done my chain. Now I'm going to just try to keep it nice and even so it doesn't twist, which will be a little difficult when you're working. It will still want to twist on you. So now I'm just going to insert my hook back in. Now I'm going to join it to this very top of my work here. So I'm just going to join it with a single crochet on that particular part. I've gone into the wrong part. There we are. See, so it happens to us all. So I need to get into this very top, the very top of my join. If I did it with a half treble crochet, then it would have a bit of a gap between it. So now I'm just going to go all the way around this next section. Again, it's exactly the mirror image of the other side, again with half trebles. And when I get to this V, as you can see, this one's cleaner, so I will just do my 2 decreases there. The other one was a little bit protracted, but I will admit I did go back and cleaned it up just a little bit. I got rid of that little bumpy bit and then got back to where we were. So that's all I'm going to do, is go all the way around just as I did on the other side. And when I get to that little V there, I'll do my decrease just as if I was making any kind of chevron stitch. If incidentally you look at your bag and you think that 90 chain is just too many, then of course you can reduce that, but I kind of offered it up on my shoulder, and I figured that that was the right amount. So here I am at my corner, my chevron. So I'm going to, it's a bit difficult to get in, it's a bit tight. I'm going to do my decrease there and in this stitch, which again has another little bump. It's because it's very bumpy yarn. I have very wavy yarn on this. There we are. So now I've gone into my V. I will tidy these little corner edges up once it's all done. It's where the joins are, and that goes through the whole of the granny bag really. If there are any joins that are not quite perfect, I'll make a little stitch in them just to get those corners more secure. So now I'm going all the way up to the next peak, where again I'll just simply do my 90 chain and join it to the other side. Hope this is making sense. It's difficult to explain, but I'm sure you're grasping it. If not, just go back to the beginning. Okay, so I'm almost at the top. Next one will get me into the very top. So I'm now going to, there's my bag. I'm just going to bridge this gap here with 90 chain. So I'm going to pause the video, make my 90 chain, and I'll come back to you when we get back here, which is our start, which is why this looks a little disjointed, because we're coming back to this point. Okay, once again, I have done my 90. I'm just flattening out my chain, which is very difficult to see on this bumpy yarn what actually is the straight. Not too fussed if it does go a little bit. Just try and get it as untwisted as possible. So here we are. I'm going to now join it to this side. So all I'm going to do is slip stitch into this stitch just before my previous chains, keeping them apart so it doesn't look weird. Oh. Gone in the wrong part. That was a blooper. That was my fault. I went into the wrong side. So keep your wits about you. I went into the wrong one. So here we're joining to this one here. Oopsie. Never mind. Keeping it in because I want to show that we all make mistakes. So just keeping my chain nice and flat. Get into my end. And join in here. I thought it looked a bit odd having see, we're all human after all. So I'm just going to join it to this stitch here with a UK double crochet, which is obviously a single crochet in the US, and I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch now to complete that join. So now if I take that and make it bigger, what we have are our two, let's unzoom, our two straps at the front and the back. So they're a bit spindly as they are. So what I'm going to do now is as I'm on this side and put my hook in my yarn, I'm going to go all the way around this now with one row. So I'm going to chain one and go in the same stitch and do a single crochet US, which is a double in the UK, in every stitch around. When I get to my little dip, I'm going to carry on how I did the chevron before, but obviously in this stitch this time. But I'm going to do my 2 decreases when I get into that little valley. And as you can see, it's a nice wide border this side now. And that's going to go all the way around. Just pulling some yarn out. I can't believe I made that mistake. I thought for once I would get all the way around this and not make any. But, you know, best laid plans, as they say. But I don't edit them out. I think that it shows we all do these stupid things, and it's important to see that, because otherwise you get the impression that everybody else does everything perfect and you don't, which, you know, is not true. So now we're here, and I'm just going to do 2 because I've cleaned this side up, remember, and I'm going to just do my double crochet 2 together, which of course in the US is a single crochet 2 together. And I'm going to do it again on the other side of that little peak there, that little valley. Do 2 together, and there we are. We've cleaned up our nice little chevron, and I'm going to go all the way up again to the next side. I'm still amused by my mistake. Just want to slap myself really hard. Well, so I'm not going to zoom at the moment because it's easy just to get all the way along here up to our first strap, which is where it gets interesting. And I'm almost there. I can assure you that all of the people that you watch on YouTube make these howlers, but they just don't show them to you because they're more perfectionists. But I like to show you that I am human. So here we are. We have made it all the way to our strap, and I'm going to just pause the video and bring in the completed one to show you how it looks. There we go. So this is now your decision to make. My straps are this wide. Should you wish to make them wider, you can do this in a half treble or half double all the way along this, and not do the small stitch of the UK double or US single crochet, which I've done here. I've done a single crochet. This is obviously on both sides. The chain is in the center because we will go around the other side in the next part. So it is completely up to you. If you wanted to do them as half treble or half double, remember they'd be about this wide. So if you would rather your strap was this wide, then go ahead and do half treble. In fact, I'll show you the difference. That one was done in the I hate having them in different names, in the double crochet UK single US. So we're going to do this one by doing a half treble just to show you the difference when it's done. But of course this part will stay the same because otherwise there will be a discrepancy in, that's a good word, isn't it? A discrepancy in size. So we're just going to go in each of our chains now all the way across, which is hard with this bobbly wool. It doesn't like it at all. See, when I was young, regardless of what it was called wool. It wasn't called yarn. We know it as wool. So showing my age. But yeah, it's a bit difficult. So I'm just grateful to get in a stitch, to be honest. So I don't care if I'm going through 2 loops, 1 loop. They're all going in. They're all going through the other side when we get to the other part. So yeah, just go in each one of your chain. If you wanted it in the narrow, you're doing your single crochets, double UK. If you wanted it wider, you're doing your half treble, a half double. So I'm going to pause it now because it's a little tedious to watch me do this, and I will pick up with you when I get to this part over here. Well, I've made it all the way across, and now I'm back to here, and this is we've already completed our 1 row of half trebles along here. So I'm just going to join this and start with a single crochet in the US, which is a double in the UK, and I'm going to go around these only, this part here only, with a little row of UK doubles or US singles, which then completes the width of this border on this particular side. And all I'll do is I'll go along in each one and keeping my decreases when I get to the dip there. So it's just like if I was making a chevron. Just carry on doing 1 in each. I'll cut off all these edges and tails and stuff when I get finished, and I do my little bit of tidying up kind of maintenance. So I'm almost at that point where I need to do my decreases, and that will be the end of this side. And we just then, that can go through all the two bits. I don't like it going through the whole stitch. In some ways I'm a perfectionist. Right, now I'm here, I'm going to start doing my 2 decreases, making sure it goes in the right bit. It's probably because it is singles. There we are. So that's the first one. And this will be the second one. Sorry, it's hard to show it. That's it. So now I'm done with decreasing on that side, and I'm just going to do the one, and then I will going to pause the video and I will catch up with you again when I get to this point. Right, so that side is now all finished, and I'm now going to go across my chain just as I did before, with half treble all the way to this side here. So I'm not going to show you that, so it's a bit tedious to watch me go all the way along, but it's just as we did before, by going into our chain and doing now our half treble, which is the UK term, or half double US. And I'm going to do that in each one all the way across, and I'll pick up with you. I'm going to pause the video and pick up with you when I get to this side. I've made it all the way along, and this is my last one here. So I'm just going to now join that with a slip stitch into my first stitch, if I can get my hook in, and then get my scissors, and I'm going to just end off. And the reason I'm ending off is because that is the completion of that whole side, all the way round. So now all that needs to be done are the fronts, and so I'm going to end off this tutorial here, and this will be part 1. I'm going to do the next one right now anyway as part 2, but the reason I'm separating it is so that rather than putting in lots of timestamps, if you have to leave it there, you can pick up next time by just straight away coming into part 2. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for more videos. And if you would, please just like and share this video. It would help me immensely. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, bye bye for now.